Okay, and this is the last of the level 4 for loop exercises with me, Mr. Denton. Okay, so in this exercise, basically, if we get a 3, then we print all of the numbers, the whole numbers, up to 3 in a little pyramid. So on the first line, we print 1, second line, we print 1, 2, third line, we print 1, 2, 3. And we have to be able to do that for all of the whole numbers less than or equal to 9. So if this was 9, we'd have 1 on the first line, 1, 2 on the second line, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think you get the picture. Okay, so it actually involves us learning a little bit more about how the print statement works. So print actually will take as many arguments as you like, and these things can be anything, right? So A equals, I don't know, hello. B equals 9. B equals true or true. C equals 56.789. And G equals Bob. Okay, and if I print that with commas separating it, it should print all of those values. Okay, so I need to import a number for some reason, and then it will print hello 9 Bob 50 da da da. Yeah, it will print all of that on the same line, right? Now there's something else we can do. We can use another parameter within the print function. We can say set equals, and set stands for separator. So set, and let's just do that. Okay, and now when we run it, we'll see what happens. So now I still have to enter my number, and it prints the values of all my variables. So all of these are variables that I've set the values of, and set, which means separator, means between each of them, just use that 4 hashes and it will separate it. Okay, now you can also use a parameter called end. Okay, and this will put a special value on the end of your line. Okay, again, actually, no, I'm just going to comment that one out. So print will print as many values as you like. It will print a whole string as one thing. It will print different values with separators, and also it will put a special value on the end. If you don't put an end value, okay, so this is just glitching, I believe. If you don't put an end value, then print will default. That means it will do it by itself. It will print a new line character. Okay, so if I print A and then print B, yeah, because I haven't put an end character, it will put a new line after the A value. Okay, what's the problem with the? Yeah, sorry, that's not the right comment. Java comment, not a Python comment. Okay, so you see it prints the value hello on its own line because A, by default, it has a new line on the end of it. Okay, so that's important for this little problem. So, so what do we need to do? We need to print n numbers. Okay, so if I go for I in range n, yeah, I'm just going to test this out. Print n or print I. Yeah, if I run that, let's enter 12. You see it prints all the values from 0 up to 12, but not including 12, and it prints them on a new line because by default there is an end character, which is a new line. Okay, now let's say, just like here, we don't want to print the numbers on a new line. Yeah, we want them on the same line. We simply use the parameter end and we set it equal to nothing, to an empty string. Okay, and we can say that with 2 small single quotation marks or 2 big quotation marks, but with nothing inside. Okay, now if we run it, you should see that if I put number 12 in, it's going to print all of those values on the same line. Now that's important because we need to do that inside this problem. Okay, the only problem we have is that we don't want to start at 0. There's no zeros here. And by default, again, by default, range starts at 0. So we can tell it to start at 1, okay? And then we can run that again. So if I press that, I'm going to use 9 now because that's probably more relevant for this problem, right? And it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to, but not including 9. And that's a problem because look, if you type in 3, on the third line, we want to see 3. So actually, we might need to add 1 to the end there, right? Okay, so print that, run that, type in 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. All on the same line. Except it isn't perfect, is it? We actually need 9 lines, only the last one of which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we actually need to put this inside another for loop. So I'm going to say for j in range n, okay, because n is our input. So n, in my example, is going to be the number 9. I'm going to run it. I'm going to type in 9. And then I'm just going to press tab to move this for loop inside of the outer for loop. This is a nested for loop. It's a for loop inside a for loop. Okay, now if I run this, what you should see is, there we go. We've got 9 lines. Yeah, no, we haven't. Okay, so I do need to print my new line character, which I can do like that, just by saying print. So at the end of each of these little loops, I'm just going to call the print function on its own, which will create a new line. I'll run that. You see, there we go. I've now got 9 lines, and each of my lines goes up to 9. Now that's not actually what we want it to happen, right? So I need to do something with this inner value. So this outer loop loops 9 times, and that's what we want it to do. But this inner loop, what we need to do is we need it to loop 1 the first time, 2 the second time, 3, 4, 5, up to 9 times on the 9th time. So we need an extra piece of information. Usually when you're struggling to solve a problem with code, and it's really tricky, it's usually because you don't have enough information in your program. So in this one, I'm going to say I've got a new value called length. I'm going to set that to 1. And I'm going to use that to control my loop. I'll just pop it in there, see what happens. Type in 9. You see I've got 9 empty lines because it's starting at 1 and it's going up to 1. Okay, so if you start at 1 and go all the way up to 1, how many times are you looping? 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we've got to add 1 to length so we can actually see something happening. Now if I run that, do 9 times. Oops, I've got 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I wonder why that happened. Well, because only the first line needs to be 1 character long. The second line needs to be 2 characters long, and the third line needs to be 3 characters. So within this loop, I'm going to just increment length. Yeah. So do you remember I said by length equals length plus 1? We can also write it as length plus equals 1. If you're feeling a little bit lazy, and I am today, because it's Sunday. So at the end of each of these loops, we're then going to increase the length. Okay, now when I run it, type in 9. Bob's your uncle, Francesca's your uncle's girlfriend. And I think that's actually what we've been asked to do. So first line's got 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 9. I can run the tests. Fingers crossed, that all looks good. Hot submit. So in this little lesson, we've learned a little bit about how to use the print statement a little bit more sophisticatedly, where we can print things on the same line or we can print things on new lines deliberately. And we've also learned a little bit about nested loops, putting loops inside of other loops and making sure that we change something inside the loop so that the inner loop actually does what we want it to do. Anyway, I hope that was useful. Take care.